Have you ever desired to change your life, your job, and then waited, hoping for the perfect opportunity to finally arrive? But nothing magical happens. What if the truth is this? Instead of searching for opportunities, you build them. Creating opportunities rather than waiting for them, that's the real secret to success. Watch the story of a young woman named Ira, and in the end, you'll know exactly when the magic begins. In a quiet town just outside the noise of the city, there lived a young woman named Ira. She wasn't like most people around her. While others focused on getting stable jobs, marrying young, and following the same routine passed down through generations, Ira dreamed differently. She lived with her parents in a modest home and worked part-time at a local bookstore. But her mind was always elsewhere, filled with thoughts of creating something meaningful, doing something that mattered, and becoming someone her younger self would be proud of. Her friends often laughed at her ambitious dreams. "You think you'll be a TED speaker or a successful entrepreneur?" they teased. "Come back to earth, Ira." Even her relatives, well-meaning but narrow-minded, called her the girl with no anchor. Everyone said she had potential but no direction. They thought she was lost in daydreams. But Ira wasn't lost. She was searching. One weekend, she visited her cousin's home for a family gathering. As the relatives chatted over dinner about work, family issues, and neighborhood gossip, one uncle told an old tale passed down for generations. "There's a legend about a magical door that appears once every 100 years on a hill just outside town," he said, half laughing. "They say if you pass through it during sunrise, your deepest desire will come true." The family chuckled and dismissed it as nonsense, but Ira's eyes lit up. She had heard variations of that story growing up, and like others, she had imagined what it would be like to find such a door. But that night, something inside her shifted. "Why do we all wait for magical doors?" she thought. "Why don't we build them ourselves?" That thought followed her into her dreams. The next morning, as the world was still wrapped in silence and soft light, Ira did something no one expected. She packed a bag with a wooden frame, some paint, and a notebook, and hiked up the hill. There was no crowd, no reporters, no miracle waiting. Just Ira, the wind, and the sun slowly rising over the horizon. At the top, she hammered her wooden frame into the earth and painted it with colors. Stars, dreams, and symbols that had no meaning to anyone but her. People from town came to see what she was doing. Some laughed, others whispered. "She's finally lost it," they said. "She's pretending to have found the magical door." But Ira paid them no attention. She stood before her door and stepped through. There was no flash of light, no divine voice, just more hills, more questions, and a long road ahead. So she walked. She walked through cities, took odd jobs, studied in libraries, volunteered at schools, learned new skills, and failed more times than she could count. There were days she wanted to give up. But every time she remembered that hill, that door, and the dream of building her own path, she kept going. Years passed. One day, a confident, calm, and radiant Ira returned to her hometown. She was no longer the girl they remembered. She had published books, led workshops, helped startups grow, and mentored young people. The same villagers who once mocked her now gathered to hear her speak. Someone asked, "Ira, did you really find the magical door?" She smiled and replied, "I didn't find it. I built it." Confused, a few people asked, "But what do you mean?" She stood tall and said, "Everyone waits for the right moment. the perfect chance, the golden opportunity. But life doesn't work that way. There are no magical doors. If you want something deeply enough, you must create the path toward it. You don't wait for success to come. You walk toward it one step at a time. That's what I did. The villagers were stunned. Some felt embarrassed for mocking her. Others felt inspired. Slowly, people began going to that hill, just like Ira had. They brought their own makeshift doors, some out of wood, others out of cardboard or metal. They painted them, stood in front of them, and symbolically walked through. And something magical did happen. Not because of the door, but because of the belief behind it. One young man launched a local business he had always dreamed of. A teenage girl who had once doubted herself applied for an international scholarship. A single mother went back to school after years of putting her dreams aside. They all realized the same truth Ira had discovered. Opportunity is not something we find. It's something we create. The hill was no longer empty. It became a symbol of hope and action. Not because people believed in legends, but because they started believing in themselves. And so Ira's lessons spread beyond the town, into nearby cities and far-off communities. No magical door will ever appear. But the moment we decide to stop waiting and start building, that's when the magic begins. The moral of the story: stop waiting, start building. The only door you need is the one you create.